If you have been looking for the most efficient way to trade the Forex market, then this is the teaching for you. For some of you that have been following my YouTube teachings, you'll be familiar with the fact that I use a top price action trading system in order to analyze the Forex market. Okay, so in this video, I'm also going to be going deeper into that top-down analysis to show you guys some practical steps on how to be able to apply this top-down analysis more efficiently, and to show you guys some patterns that have repeated itself, and I use these patterns to my advantage in being able to predict the future movement of prices correctly in the Forex market. So grab your pen, grab your book, and take note of every single thing I'm going to be talking about in today's teaching. Let's go, guys. I'm going to be taking GBP JPY for our teaching today. For all of you all that are familiar with my trading system, you all know that I operate a top-down analysis system, okay? That is, I go on to the monthly time frame and I read the overall information and structures of prices from the monthly time frame down to even the 1 hour or the 30 minutes time frame for a real-time trade entry opportunity. Okay, so apart from just operating what is known as a top-down analysis, we also operate a multi-time frame analysis, right? Okay, so what do we do and what are the stepwise processes that we follow in order for us to analyze every single pair and get the best opportunities out of these pairs? Okay, so what do we do? The first thing we do when we come onto the chart is to identify the real-time zone where price is at. Without any iota of doubt, this is the real-time zone where prices is at. Price is within all of the zone, okay? So what is the next thing? The next thing that we have to understand is the structures that took prices to this point. What are the overall structures of prices? Good, we are starting on the monthly time frame, okay? So because it's a top-down analysis, so you have to start from what? The monthly time frame. So what are the overall structures of prices that took prices to this point, okay? So by the time we backdate and we go to the back, we'll see that what? Forever, from 1975, price has been clearly bearish. Okay, price has been bearish, and we all know that what a bearish coordination entails what? After every push, there must be an exhaustion. After every push, there must be an exhaustion. This means that even within overall bearish structures, there are bullish movements. But the bullish movements are what? Are these exhaustions, and 61.8 Fibonacci level ends these exhaustions. Okay, so after every push, there must be an exhaustion, because what? A bearish structure comprises of what? Clear structures of lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so without any doubt, GBP JPY is what? It's bearish. The pounds has been falling to the Japanese yen since 1975. Okay, so this means that what? Any bullish movement is only but what? But a retracement. Okay, so what are we now going to do? We are going to what? We are going to now draw out the structures that took prices to the real-time point where prices are. Okay, so first of all, we could just decide to take this different path first before we focus on the path that our screen can take. Here, after this push, we saw this exhaustion, then price now started making smaller fractals, right? After this push, it made this exhaustion. After this push, we saw prices what? Make this exhaustion. Okay, so now prices continued on that movement of push and exhaustion, right? So now let's take this window here where our screen can contain. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue reading the structures of prices. Okay, so here we saw prices make push here, then prices came back for the exhaustion. Okay, so this is one. Then we saw prices continue by making this push here. Then what did prices do? It came back for the exhaustion at the 61.8 fib level. Remember, the 61.8 fib level ends an exhaustion. However, this is one of the patterns I want to show you guys, that sometimes prices comes back to 61.8 in order to grab an exhaustion, and it's supposed to head down. But however, sometimes the first touch of 61.8 might not be enough to send it down. So what will prices do? It will grab an higher low, then go back to test that 61.8 level again. Sometimes it even trades a little bit above, you know, the last time where prices came to test the 61.8. And when it does this, it's what? It gathers more bearish presence, okay? More bears in this case, and what? And sends the bears down. Okay, so now that means that what? That a second touch of the 61.8 fib level is always important, because sometimes the first touch might not be enough to send it down to create that lower low. Sometimes it might be, but sometimes it might not be. Okay, so in this case, on the monthly time frame, we are seeing a repetition of the same movement. Prices came around the 61.8 zone right here. It was not enough to send it low. Instead, what the prices do, it came here, grabbed an higher low around here. Then what the prices do, prices came back a little bit higher than the last high here. And this level right here, what the prices doing, prices came to grab another 61.8, hit the 61.8 level here and grab more BS in order for us to sell prices hard to the ground level. Okay, so all of this has been seen. What are we going to do? First of all, let me show you guys the Fibonacci levels. Okay, so you can use your Fibonacci from the top to the bottom level. Okay, so one thing we can see is that prices came around the 61.8 level for the first time right here. This was around the 61.8 the first time. Then what the prices do, it came around the 61.8 the second time right here. Okay, we can see that prices trade above 61.8, right? But it's important to note that that 61.8 are zones and not pinpoint levels. So all these levels that are even trading above 61.8 are regarded as 61.8 zones, because 61.8 are zones and not pinpoint levels, right? Okay, so now that we've taken note of that, we are now seeing a repetition of that in today's case here, where prices came around the 61.8 the first time, just like it did in the past, but the first movement was not enough to send it down. Then what the prices do, prices now came back again to test 61.8 for the second time. Okay, we can see that this right here was the first touch of 61.8. It didn't even touch 61.8 pinpoints, but came around that zone. Remember, 61.8 is a zone and not a pinpoint level. So all of these levels here are 61.8 zone. Then what the prices do, prices now came back to 61.8 for the second time. Okay, and this second touch of 61.8 is guaranteed to send prices down. Okay, so this is one of the pattern I'm going to show you guys, and you guys should take note of it, that sometimes the first touch of 61.8 might not be enough to send prices down, and price would need that second touch for for a very strong bearish movement. Okay, this can also occur in the bullish movement also. Just like here, prices came, touched the 61.8 the first time here, but it was not enough. Instead, it grabbed an higher low here. But the second touch, we can see how the second touch was crazy, and the second touch crashed to create that lower low. And here also we have the second touch of the 61.8 also, and we're expecting that crash to go and create the lower low. Okay, so now that all of these things has been defined, we know that all of these bullish movements here that took price to 61.8 are only but a retracement. All of these bullish movements are retracement movements, because we said that after every push there must be an exhaustion in a clear bearish structure. Okay, so push, there must be an exhaustion. Okay, and we said that the 61.8 fib level, it does it ends an exhaustion. Okay, 61.8 ends an exhaustion. So that is what is going on right here. The 61.8 zone ends the exhaustion. Okay, and to even make it crazier, if prices comes back again, to test the 61.8, that's a double shot of 61.8, expect a sporadic sell. Okay, so that is what we are seeing on prices right now on the monthly time frame. So now that has been defined, what are we going to do? We are now going to just take the highest point of prices right here, and we are going to take our drawings off, and the next thing we are going to do is we are now going to take the last higher low. Okay, so this right here is the last higher low. If we are to read the structures that took prices to the 61.8 for the second time, the structures are going to be clear structures of of push right here, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, then size small fractal, push, exhaustion, then push to hit the monthly 61.8, then price is currently here. Okay, so the monthly 61.8 has ended this bullish retracement, and that's why we are sure that this is not going to be an exhaustion, and we are going to see a break of structure to go and create that lower low point. Okay, so now what are we going to do next? We now decided that we are going to take this last higher low here. This is what we always do. As soon as we identify the overall structures of prices, what do? We take the highest point of the chart and take the last higher low, in order for us to now get what will now be known as our range of focus. Okay, because we have to keep slimming prices into range of focuses until we see a real-time trade entry opportunity. So on the monthly time frame, before we go down to the weekly time frame, what did we do on the monthly time frame? One, we identified what the real-time points where prices are. That is what within the zone, right? This is the real-time points where prices are. Then what was the next thing we did? We identified what the overall structure of prices, and we saw that what the overall structure of prices is what is on a clear bearish structure, right? And all of these bullish movements are only but a retracement, and prices is currently ending the retracement at a second touch of the 61.8. So what did we do after finding out the second touch of the 61.8? We identified the last higher low right here, and we identified the highest level right here, and we identified this window as what? As our range of focus. Okay, so now this range of focus, we are now taking it to the weekly time frame to look for an opportunity within this range of focus. Okay, so how are we going to see this opportunity within this range of focus? We are now going to read the structures right here. Okay, so what are the structures right here within our range of focus? Okay, within this window here, we can see prices make a push, exhaustion. Okay, another push, exhaustion, another push, a bigger one, exhaustion right here. Then price made a push to this monthly 61.8, and the monthly 61.8 sent prices to break structure. Okay, so now a structure has been broken within this range of focus. Okay, and one thing that we know is that what after a structure breaks, instead of prices heading straight to take profit, sometimes what does prices do? It goes back for what is known as a discount to 61.8. Test the discount the first time, test the discount the second time. Then this now shows us that what? Okay, now we have seen a double retest of the discount. It's going to be crazy. A discount only needs one retest, right? A retest to the 61.8 fib level, right? But here we are seeing what a double retest is going to be crazy, and that's why this break of structure has happened, and this movement is going to send prices to as much as this level. First of all, before we go ahead, let's identify this discount that we are just talking about. Okay, so right here you can see the discount. You can see that what here there was a first touch of the 61.8, and there was also a second touch of the 61.8. Let's go ahead and identify this level as what? 61.8 PRA. PRA is also known as what? Potential reversal area. Okay, so that is what these zones are. Prices tested it for the first time. That was not enough to send it down. Then went back again to test it for the second time, and that's why we saw the break of this low, and price is eventually going to get to this level. Okay, so in summary, what prices just did is what? Is push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, push. Hit a monthly 61.8 level. Then what did the monthly 61.8 level do? It instigated a break of structure. Okay, so now that what we are aware that okay, this is the second touch of the monthly 61.8, and the bears are currently taking over prices, and if we are selling it now in the direction of trend, what did we see prices do? Price now went for a discount to 61.8. When the first time, instead of, it was not enough to create the lower low, just like I showed you guys on the monthly time frame. I showed you this pattern that sometimes the first touch of the 61.8 that's supposed to end a retracement might not be enough. For example, this bullish move is just a retracement. Okay, so what the price do? It grabbed an higher low, went to test it for the second time, and right now, you know, we are seeing that what price is on an overall bearish movement. I will send prices to as much as this low. So that is just the exact interpretation of what is going on here. All of these bullish movements here, then what happened? Prices clearly broke a structure. Okay, hit the monthly 61.8 level, broke a structure here, tested the 61 point for the first time. That was not enough to send it down. Instead, it grabbed an higher low. Then what did it went to do? Tested 61 point for the second time. Then we've seen the break of structure that is going to send prices to as much as this low. Okay, so now that all of this has been defined, what are we going to do next? We are now going to take this window again to the daily time frame just to expatiate on this structure. Okay, so the weekly time frame, what did we do here? In the weekly time frame, within our range of focus, we read the structures, right? We read all of these bullish structures that took prices up, and we saw a break of the bullish structure. When we saw a break of the bullish structure, instead of price heading to take profit pinpoints at the lowest point right here, since if we are selling in the direction of trend, right? Instead of that, what did prices do? Prices went for a discount, tested the discount twice, and broke structure, and right now it's coming down to as much as this level. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're now going to take this range of focus to the daily time frame in order to expatiate on these structures. Okay, so on the daily time frame, what is going on right here? Here we can see prices make push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion. Started from small fractals, now establishing big fractals, right? Push, exhaustion, push, exhaustion right here, push, exhaustion right here. made small fractal, but within the eye of the big fractal, all of these are pushed. And what the prices do, prices broke structure. We also saw a clear break of structure. Now that a clear break of structure has been seen, just like we saw on the weekly time frame, we now saw a discount. Okay, prices, instead of heading straight to take profits at the lowest point right here, supposed to be take profits. Instead of that, what the prices do, it's headed back for a discount. Okay, hit 61 points for the first time, grab this low, hit 61 points for the second time, and we now saw what, a break of this higher low right here. And we are now 100% sure that price is going to come down to as much as this level. Okay, so the future of price has been defined. Okay, we read it on the weekly time frame, read the structures on the daily time frame, and we are now sure that what, okay, this is the future of prices. Okay, and beyond this level, right, just like we read on the monthly time frame, price is going for a long-term bearish movement. That bearish movement, could take 1 year, 2 years, overall. Okay, however, we are day and swing traders, so we are not position traders, so we don't take trades and swing for a year. We just take trades, and day trade opportunities, swing trade opportunities, and close our trades weekly in order to compound and secure profits. Okay, so now that this has been defined, what are we going to do next? Okay, we have seen that overall prices is bearish, right? We saw the discount again. This was what, push, exhaustion, prices pushed to hit the 61 point for the discount, created this low here, push, and we've seen what, the break of structure. Okay, so beyond that, now how can we tap into a real-time trade entry opportunity? We have been familiar with this secret. That's what, sometimes the 61.8 will require a second touch, just like it will require a second touch for what? For a crazy bearish movement to send prices down. Okay, sometimes the first touch is not enough, right? So now that we have seen that secret, what are we going to do? Okay, we are now going to look for how we can tap into a real-time trade entry opportunity, right? So now we are now going to slim prices into another range of focus, right? So now this window right here, from here to here, is now going to be our new range of focus. So within this new range of focus, what are we going to do? Let's read the structures within this new range of focus, and let's take it from the second touch of the 61.8 here, right? So here we can see that what price started on small fractals within this movement, right? And these are what, clear bearish structures, right? It broke all of these bearish structures. What the prices do, came for an exhaustion. Broke bearish structures. What the prices do, came for an exhaustion. The first exhaustion was not enough to create the lower low. What the prices do, it grabbed this higher low here, then came back to test this level here, and we are sure that what, a sporadic bearish movement is coming. Okay, so now let's see the Fibonacci, right, from the high right here to the low right here. Okay, so just like I talked about, this was what, this was push, exhaustion, this was push, break of this bearish structure, exhaustion, break of this bearish structure, exhaustion to 61.8. That was not enough to send price to create the lower low. Instead, what, it grabbed an higher low, then went back to test 61.8 again. Double shot of the 61.8 is coming forward for a crazy bearish movement. Okay, and this is the overall point that price is going to get to. However, before this point, we are going to identify what is known as what, obstacle levels. Okay, and we want to be able to take profit at obstacle levels. We don't want obstacle levels to delay us, so what are we going to do? We have identified this support level here as an obstacle level. That means that what, we are going to take our profit at this support level right here. Now, after this support level, prices could because it's an obstacle, price could come back for a retracement again. Then when we see a break of the bullish structure, we'll now sell down to this point. That, as at that time, we know that what, the obstacle has been cleared and we are coming down to this point. But for right now, the last higher low right here, this support level is still a possible obstacle that could delay prices. Okay, so now that that has been defined, we've identified our obstacle level at the low, we've identified the highest point right here. So now let's take this window from here to here, which will now be our current range of focus. Let's take it to the 4-hour time frame in order for us to expatiate on these bearish structures and see how we can tap into a real-time trade entry opportunity. Okay, so now let's expatiate on these same bearish structures again. So just like we saw on the daily time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, we even give us more details, right? Okay, so here we saw prices make all of this push. It came for this exhaustion, right? We saw prices break all these small fractals here. What did prices do? It came for this exhaustion, right? We saw a break of all of these bearish movements. What did it do? It came for this exhaustion, right? Then what did we do? We saw price now started making small fractals. Price now made push here, came for the exhaustion. At this point, price made push at this point, came for the exhaustion at this point, broke all of this bearish structure. What did prices do? Instead of what, coming for the exhaustion and stopping at 61.8, prices stretched to as much as this lower high level here. but that was enough. Then what the prices do? Prices broke the bullish structure right here. Then what the prices do? It came what? It came to this point. Naturally, a break of this bullish structure will expect price to come to a minimum of this level, or even what? Or even send prices to the obstacle support level that we identified, or anyhow just create what? A lower low. But that short was not enough to create the lower low, right? Because what? If you are selling, remember, if you are selling, it's what? In the direction of trend. So you're supposed to sell to the lowest point, okay? So now if there's a break of this bullish structure, I'm supposed to sell to a minimum of what? The lowest point of this fractal is supposed to be my what? Take profit. But instead, prices never got there, okay? It's created this high right here, almost got there but didn't, okay? Then what the prices do? Prices came right here. Then what? Went back to test, you know, this resistance level right here for the first time. That was also not enough to send price to create the lower low. Then what did it do? Went back again for the second time to test this same resistance level again. So now we've seen what? A double touch of what? Of this resistance level. And this resistance level, apart from just being a resistance level, just like we saw on the daily time frame, let's go back to the daily time frame and let's take all these pieces out. We can see clearly that this level is also what? A daily 61.8 level. Okay, so you can see that what? This is a 61.8 around the zone. So this zone is not only a resistance level, it is also a daily 61.8 level, right? Okay, so now let's go back to the 4 hours time frame, but let's put this back because this could be useful. Or let's just take this away. Okay, so let's go to the 4 hours time frame. So on the 4 hours time frame, we saw prices came back to this level right here, which is what? Which is a daily 61.8 slash what? Slash 4 hour resistance PRA. Okay, so this level can send prices down, okay, to create a lower low. So now let's go ahead and read the structures again just for clarity. We saw price start on small fractals here. Made push, exhaustion, push, break of this bullish structure. What the prices do? Created a lower low right here. Okay, let's take it from the beginning. Break of this bearish structure. What the prices do? Came for a discount. Break of this bearish structure. Okay, then after the discount, a break of this bullish structure sent prices for a lower low. A break of this bearish structure sent price for a discount. A break of this bullish structure sent price to create the lower low, right? A break of this bearish structure sent price for a discount. Instead of stopping at 61.8 pinpoint, prices stretched a bit to this level, created a lower high. Now a break of this bullish structure is supposed to send prices at the lowest to this point, then at the highest to create a lower low. But instead, what the prices do? Prices stopped at around this point. That was not enough. Okay, then what is prices doing right now? Prices now went in this case now to go and grab more BS at the top. It's called a liquidity sweep. Okay, went to grab more BS at the top for the first time. That was not enough. Now went again to grab more BS again. And we now saw a break of structure, which I'm going to show you guys on the 1 hour time frame. And we believe that that is going to send prices to create the lower low, level. Okay, so that means that what? For this particular trade, this level right here is going to be, okay, just a moment. Let me make a pinpoint. This level right here is going to be what? Our take profit 1. Then this support level right here, which is the obstacle level, is going to be our take profit 2. So now let's go ahead to the 1 hour time frame to what? To take this window right here and see how we can break prices within this window further. Okay, so here we saw prices, you know, came back to test what? To test this 61.8 level. Okay, this daily 61.8 level. This was the first touch. That was not enough to create the lower low. Instead, it grabbed the higher low right here. Then what? Then we now saw prices tested it for the second time and a break of structure happened. Now, what break of structure is that? It came here the first time, grabbed the higher low, push and break structure. After prices broke the structure, what did prices do? Prices repeated the same thing again. So you can see that what? This pattern is familiar, right? Came back to test 61.8 for the first time right here. That was not enough to create the lower low and send prices right here. Instead, what the prices do? Came back to test it again for the second time and it's going to send prices here. Okay, so now this secret of double touch of 61.8 is a very big secret that I decided to let out for this teaching so that you guys can be able to go ahead and what? And see that what? After a second touch of 61.8, be ready for a very crazy movement of prices. Once there's a second touch of 61.8, prices is ready to make that crazy movement, right? So just like we saw right here, this was the first touch of 61.8. Prices came to grab this higher low. Then all of these levels were what? Were the second touch of 61.8. And what happened at the second touch of 61.8? prices broke structure. Okay, after breaking structure, what the prices do, it gave us a discount right here. Then what, came back again, tested 61 points for the second time, and we are ready for a very crazy sell to as much as this level, which is our take profit 1, and we haven't ready for prices to go lower to as much as this level, which is our take profit 2. So now, how do we enter this trade? Okay, if you want to enter this trade on market opening, I've already sent this signal out to my students in my signal channel. If you want to join my signal channel or even the mentorship program to master everything I'm teaching, there's a link in the description below, right? Okay, so how do you tap into this particular opportunity, right? If you want to enter this opportunity on market opening, you can enter pinpoint at the discount, hide your stop loss at the high right here, then take profit 1 is going to be a very beautiful 1:3. Then take profit 2 is going to be a very beautiful 1:5.5 risk to reward. Okay, 1:5.5 means that what, if I'm risking $1,000, I'm going home with $5,000, right? And 1:3 means if I'm risking $1,000, I'm going home with $3,000, right? So this is the opportunity that we are looking out for on GBP/JPY, and I've shown you guys from the monthly time frame how important this double touch of 61.8 is, right? We've seen double touches of 61 points, double touch of 61 points. Anytime you say double touch of 61 points, action always happens, momentum always happens, right? Okay, and we talked about it here also. This was the first touch of the 61.8 after, you know, this bearish movement was not enough to send it to create the low, came to test this daily 61.8 for the first time, came to test this daily 61 points for the second time, and because of that, we were now able to see prices break a structure. Okay, we now saw what, a clear break of structure. Let me make it pinpoint. This is the clear break of structure that sends prices down in order to create this bearish movement. Okay, then prices now came for the discount the first time, it was not enough, then came for the discount the second time, and right now we are going to be expecting a very crazy bearish movement. Okay, double touch of 61.8 has been hit. Our sell is clear because if we are selling it in the direction of trend, and we are now going to be set for a crazy bearish movement. Okay, so in that case, like I said, if you want to join my mentorship program, link is in the description below. I have a full course on every single aspect of price action trading, and I also offer a live mentorship program. So see you guys in the next video, and we are going to watch out and see how this particular prices plays out and gives us massive profits.